Episode 57DHXXHb, September 11, 2025. 8 cartoons about US wildfire fighters to mask up after decades-long ban. Cartoon 1 of 8 US wildfire fighters to mask up after decades-long ban. Cell 1. The Forest Service posted new guidance on Monday acknowledging for the first time Cell 2 that masks can protect firefighters against harmful particles in wildfire smoke. Cell 3. Reversing a decades-long ban. Cell 4 that exposed workers to toxins known to cause cancer and other serious diseases. Cartoon 2 of 8 US wildfire fighters to mask up after decades-long ban. Cell 1. The move is part of a flurry of safety improvements in recent weeks. Cell 2, as the government faces increasing pressure to aid firefighters. Cell 3. For years, the Forest Service had barred workers from wearing masks. Cell 4, arguing that they were too cumbersome for the job. Cartoon 3 of 8 US wildfire fighters to mask up after decades-long ban. Cell 1. But current and former officials have said the agency did not want to deal with the potentially costly consequences. Cell 2 of admitting the long-term dangers of smoke exposure. Cell 3. In an about-face, the agency now says it has stockpiled some 80,000 N95 masks. Cell 4 and will include them in the standard set of equipment for all large fires. Cartoon 4 of 8 US wildfire fighters to mask up after decades-long ban. Cell 1. The Forest Service is encouraging firefighters to mask up. Cell 2 and even suggesting that they shave their facial hair for a better fit. Cell 3. Previously, the firefighters were only allowed to wear bandanas. Cell 4, which offer no protection against toxins. Cartoon 5 of 8 US wildfire fighters to mask up after decades-long ban. Cell 1. This is going to make a huge difference in protecting the health of people, Cell 2 said the director of a non-profit group of firefighters united. Cell 3, as climate change makes fire season longer and more intense, Cell 4 firefighters are spending more time in smoke. Cartoon 6 of 8 US wildfire fighters to mask up after decades-long ban. Cell 1. Many US wildfire fighters are developing cancer or lung disease at young ages. Cell 2, and some are dying. Cell 3. The Forest Service, which employs the largest share of the country's 40,000 wildland firefighters. Cell 4 has come under intense scrutiny by Congress. Cartoon 7 of 8 US wildfire fighters to mask up after decades-long ban. Cell 1. Lawmakers have begun crafting safety legislation. Cell 2 and sent the agency multiple rebuking letters. Cell 3. One letter asked why the agency had continued to ignore calls to give workers masks. Cell 4. A recommendation that researchers have been making to Forest Service since at least 1997. Cartoon 8 of 8 US wildfire fighters to mask up after decades-long ban. Cell 1. The Forest Service chief was summoned to a House oversight hearing on Tuesday. Cell 2. Members of the Federal Land Subcommittee. Cell 3 grilled him about what he was doing to protect firefighters. Cell 4. One representative pressed the Forest Service chief to inform workers that smoke can cause long-term illness. Cat's corner strategy with Tiger and Leone. Saying the quiet part out loud. Roar. Hi, I am Tiger. Our human asked us to get up from our naps and start Cat's corner strategy with Tiger and Leone. She gave us a list of internet allies which we will post for her here.
Hi, I am Leone. It is better for your mental fitness to go to these websites than to go to bro sites for advice. Substack letters from an American Heather Cox Richardson. Substack your local epidemiologist. The Midas Touch. The Guardian. The New York Times.
One introduction. Rosette view. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only for home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable, wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen, and so sequesters some carbon, will not not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM2.5, and PM2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut down and burn tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom. The Eco-Design Wood Stove International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. Rosette View Purple Air PM2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.